Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. You know, today is so-called Thankskilling Day. Millions upon millions of people around Babylon are going to celebrate today, even though the true history of today is tragic, man. All right, and this is an article from Al Jazeera from 2017. It says, Thanksgiving, the annual genocide whitewash. Americans continue celebrating a holiday that celebrates Salakia. Americans continue celebrating a holiday that whitewashes the mass killing of millions of so-called Native Americans, man. All right. One of the reasons why people are so quick to celebrate the day, or the main reason is because of the food, man. All right. Scriptures talk about how a gift destroyeth the heart. So when people get this food, man, all right, when people receive this food and this feast, right, because a lot of people eat for free on this day too. When they do that, they don't care about the history. They don't care about what it represents, the true meaning of it, man. And it's also a lack of empathy too, right? Because a lot of Jakes out there, not all of Jakes, but there's a lot of Jakes, majority of Jakes, right, who complain about reparations and 40 acres and a mule, and they'll say things and statistics like Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, owes so-called black people trillions of dollars, but they'll go ahead and celebrate Thanksgiving, man. You're not only double-minded, but you're a hypocrite, and you have no empathy towards your brother, man. All right, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, man, you are agreeing with your enemy, man. All right, but this is Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy not thou, Slakia, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. All right, some of the ways of the oppressor are the days that they celebrate and the reasons they celebrate these days, man. All right, we're not supposed to choose none of the ways, and we're not supposed to envy them. Yeah, on the surface it looks nice, right? Family getting together, giving thanks over a feast. It looks nice, but a lot of the food on that feast table is defiled. The reason for the feast is wicked, and it's hurtful to who all is remaining of Gad, man, Gad and Reuben. All right, but let me pick some parts of this article out. Yeah, on the surface, it may seem that there's not much to criticize about a holiday based on gratitude and eating, especially when it's accompanied by absurd spectacles like the presidential turkey pardon. But a glance at historical context of Thanksgiving reveals a thoroughly nauseating affair. All right, if if you care, if you have a heart, but majority of people in this place don't give a fuck about anything, man. Only themselves. All right. All right. For starters, continuing on this article, for starters, as University of Texas journalism professor Robert Jensen reminds us in a dispatch on the alternate website, the very term Thanksgiving is saturated with disgrace. By 1637, Jensen writes, Massachusetts Bay Colony Governor John Winthrop was proclaiming a Thanksgiving for the successful massacre of hundreds of Pequot Indian men, women, and children, a bloody pattern that will repeat itself across the continent until between 95 and 99% of American Indians had been exterminated, right? And this is what this day truly represents, right? But let me jump over to the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome them, but he shall overcome at the last. Right. So and that's the spirit too, because between 95 and 99% of American Indians have been exterminated. That's the prophecy being fulfilled of a troop overcoming Gad. But at the last, he's going to prevail. So that 1% is going to prevail, man. That's how mighty of a tribe Gad is at the end of the day, man. Gad and Reuben, that remaining 1% is gonna be able to prevail through the spirit of power Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, but people out here celebrating and feasting over a day like this. And I was talking to this one Eve at my plantation, and I was telling her, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and she's an Ephraimite, right, so-called Puerto Rican, and she was like, basically saying she's how she celebrates it, and she don't give a fuck because it's about giving thanks, even though her people is part Taino, right? She's a fool, man, right? But of course, I can't say that. I just nod my head, whatever. You know, you're not supposed to argue with fools, man. It's a waste of time. The scripture talks about speaking not into the ears of a fool, man. Let me jump to that real quick. I believe that's Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23:9. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the words. Salaka, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Right. There's no point of trying to edify or educate a fool, because there's nothing inside of them, so there's nothing you could build within them, man. All right. Fools are really empty vessels, man. At the end of the day, all right. But Salaki, there's one more point I want to bring out about this paragraph. By 1637, Jensen writes, Massachusetts Bay Colony Governor John Winthrop was proclaiming a Thanksgiving for the successful massacre of hundreds of Pequot Indian men, women, and children. Right. Esau Edom is a man of blood, right? And, that's going to be one of his downfalls, too. Right? If we go to Ezekiel chapter 35, I'm going to start at verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate. Mount Seir is talking about Esau Edom, right? A so-called white man, right? And their land, really. And cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. All right. This is the judgment that's coming to Esau Edom, man. All right. This is the judgment that's coming to Esau Edom. All right, for not hating blood, for just being overly violent, even when our time of iniquity had an end, man. But they never gave a damn, man. Esau Edom never gave a damn. Esau Edom has really no regard for human life, even of his own people, right? Other nations are in the same manner, but other nations will have some care of their own people. Esau Edom doesn't give a fuck at all, man. All right, but it says in this paragraph again, it says that the governor John Winthrop was proclaiming a Thanksgiving for the successful massacre of hundreds of Pequot Indian men, women, and children, a bloody pattern that would repeat itself across the continent. All right, if you go to and this part of the curses, all right, because the reason so-called Native Americans were in the Americas was because of Second Edge 13. They originally traveled here, to keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of their ability. But eventually they went off, and when you go off from following the law, statutes, commandments, the curses are then applied, man. All right, so if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, I'm going to start at verse 49. Deuteronomy 28:49, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Right. When you look in the back of your dollar bill, you see the eagle. All right. When you on top of, if you see a lot of flag poles that carry the American flag, will have a eagle on top of the flag. The eagle is Esau Edom's favorite bird, man. And right. They love that fucking eagle, man. But this is what the scripture is saying, man. As swift as the eagle flieth, and it's spiritual. That it uses the eagle to describe this nation that's coming from afar whose tongue we wouldn't understand, man. All right, because this is why so-called Christopher Columbus came with Hebrew interpreters, man. All right, because it was a language barrier. So if you're not gonna understand his tongue, all right, he's not gonna understand yours at the same time. All right, Deuteronomy 48, Salaki, Deuteronomy 28, and I'm gonna read 49 once more. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, who from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave either the corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kine, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. Right. This is why the population of buffalo and bisons in America dwindled greatly, man. Because Esau Edom understood that so-called Native Americans were using that for food, so they would go out and hunt them to push so-called Native Americans into starvation. That, and also Scripture says how they're not going to regard the person of old nor show favor to the young. Right, just like this said, this things Slakia, John Winthrop was proclaiming a Thanksgiving for the successful massacre of hundreds of Pequot Indian men, women, and children. All right, does not show favor to the old nor the young. Now, this is going to happen to Esau Edom, Lord willing. All right, Lord willing, this is the last Thanksgiving, but there's going to be a time where we're going to celebrate the downfall of Esau Edom, as long as we're going to be able to remember him, right? Because he's going to vanish away too, right? After his 1,000 years of captivity, he's going to be forgotten about, right? So that, in a way, that's even worse than celebrating the downfall of your enemy. If you completely forgot you even fucking had that enemy, man. All right, but let me jump over to because they say in the world that true true death is when people stop talking about you, right? Because you had people like William Shakespeare that lived hundreds of years ago, but his name lives on because people still talk about him till this day, right? There's gonna be a day, there's gonna be a time, and it's gonna be soon too, all right, where Esau Edom is gonna be forgotten about, man. All right, so he's gonna truly perish, right? Not only in body, but in mind and in but in mind too. Nobody's gonna regard him, man. All right, but this is Jeremiah chapter 16. I'm gonna start at verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Right? Into their land that he gave unto our fathers, which describes a bloodline and a lineage. That's one. Also, the reason I brought this out to the spirit is because we celebrate Exodus out of our first captivity, which is Egypt, man. We celebrate that till this day. But there's going to be a day where we're going to celebrate our exodus out of this captivity too, man. All right? So the downfall of Esau, Edom, and all these other nations will be a holy day, Lord willing, man. All right? And then, we're going to celebrate the downfall of our enemies, man. So rejoice and be glad, Esau, Edom, while you have the chance, man. All right? Because Lord willing, this could be the last Thanksgiving. Lord willing, it is, though, man. I'm going to get one more. I'm going to wrap it up. This is Sirach chapter 33. I'm going to start at verse 7. Why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day is in the when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? All right. All the days are illuminated the same by the sun, man. So what makes one day better than another day? Right? Continuing on. Verse 8. By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feast. Right? Today is a feast day, but it's not of the Lord. So technically today is not a holiday, man. All right? The Lord creates and it's set apart certain days to be feast days and high holy days, right? And seasons, right? It's all of the Lord. This day is not one of them, man. All right. That's why the scripture said, "Every not the oppressor and choose none of his ways." Don't choose your oppressor's holidays and so-called holidays and feast days, man. All right. Verse Sirach 33:9. Some of them hath he made high days, and hallowed them. Hallowed means he set them apart from the other days. And some of them hath he made ordinary days. All right. Today is really an ordinary day in the sight of the Lord. So today should be really an ordinary day in the sight of us as well too, man. All right, but I'm gonna wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone that rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say shalom and a ball.